I could get in trouble for this video. If you're watching this video, you might be in a situation where you need to move to the Central Texas area, but you've either never bought a house before, or maybe you've never worked with some of the builders who are pretty prominent here in the area, and you have no idea what their reputation is, what you can expect from them. So I made this video today. Hi, my name is Jordan Brown, and I help people just like you every single week who find me on YouTube that need to relocate to the Austin, Texas area. I take a lot of pride in hearing what your personal story is, what it is that you're looking for, what your budget is, and a bunch of other circumstances, and making personalized recommendations. And in today's video, I'm going to outline my personal thoughts and opinions on the reputations, build quality, and a few other aspects of a lot of the builders that you can expect to run into here in Central Texas. And I'm not holding back anything. Before we get started, here's a disclaimer. I'm not being paid by anyone to gas them up. I am not sharing anything that I don't truly believe. And for better or worse, there's some builders on here who might watch this and get a little bit upset. That's okay. I have high standards for my clients, and I expect the same from the builder that's providing the product. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started with the rankings. We are starting off with an absolute juggernaut of a builder, Perry Homes. Perry Homes undoubtedly is going to be a superior home. They are renowned as one of the best builders in all of Texas. They are constantly in the top 10 private builder rankings across almost any source that you look up. The Houston area is very big on Perry Homes, and they've now made a very solid impression and presence here in Austin. One thing that I like about Perry Homes is they have a 95% overall customer satisfaction rate. Now, granted, that's by their own reporting, so kind of take that with a grain of salt, but they have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, which is really great. A lot of people are championing their warranty process. Their entire process is just very smooth. My personal experience, I actually just helped a YouTube viewer just like you guys who reached out to me. He was relocating here, and we ended up closing on a Perry home in a fantastic community called Santa Rita Ranch here. And I was just blown away by everything from the whole process. They were very easy to negotiate with. They were very fair. I felt like for the most part, they were accommodating to help my client feel like this was the obvious choice. And the craftsmanship is really great. The thing I also love about Perry, you have some of the mid-tier homes as well as luxury homes over $1 million. So it doesn't matter what your budget is. Usually if you're a family and you're looking for something 4 bedrooms plus, Perry Homes has some fantastic options for you, starting from, maybe the low 400s all the way up to over $1 million. So next up, we've got Ashton Woods. Ashton Woods is more of a mid-grade builder. They're going to be in a lot of the communities that have some of the, I'll kind of tell you who I see grouped together normally. To me, Ashton Woods is a good builder. They're what I expect for the price point that they're in. They don't have anything super crazy fancy, but I will say they were one of the first model homes on this channel that when I walked in, I went, wow, this is actually really nice. For how decked out it was, the models show super well. I feel like for the finished product, it can be a little bit boring, but that's okay. They're a solid builder. They have a good reputation here. So if you're someone looking between this maybe $400,000 to $600,000 range, and Ashton Woods is an option, I would feel comfortable saying move forward with an Ashton Woods home. Next up, we're going to talk about KB Home. So KB Home, I actually had a friend that worked there in the design studio, and they are more of an entry level to mid-grade builder. So their price points are going to be from the 200s and up, probably to about like 400,000 or 500,000. I've sold many of these homes. You can get a lot of house, as in square footage, for the price, but they're kind of a no thrills kind of home. You can expect the 8 to 9 foot ceilings, nothing crazy. They're not going to put like super high end finishes and things. So for what it is, I'm going to put them as an okay builder. And the way I'm looking at these rankings is superior, great, good, okay, and stay away. I'm gonna say D is stay away. So if you're price point dependent, and you want a good bang for your buck, KB Home is pretty good. I also put them as okay because they didn't really value the realtor client builder relationship during the pandemic. They were one of the first ones to really treat us poorly during that experience. And I know everyone was going through a crazy time, but I'll never forget that. And it kind of sticks with you. So everything from the first experience to the product they deliver to me is just okay. Next, we're going to talk about Brightland Homes. Brightland, to me, the sales support is pretty good. The floor plans, I think there's a good variety. They range all over the place from, I've seen homes as low as 300,000 all the way up to over 800,000. So they're not exactly a luxury builder, but they have some good variety, and really whatever lifestyle it is that you're looking for, Brightland likely has an option for you. Now, the build quality, hit or miss. Like a lot of these places, it's dependent really on the crew that's assigned to your specific home. So they're going to get dinged a little bit there. And then some of the punch items may not be completed by the time that you're done. I've seen a few reports of that. And, you know, the responsiveness and support after the sale through warranty is hit or miss also. That's from a wide variety. You can go look it up for yourself. My personal experience with them is that they are going to be an okay builder. Next, I'm going to go over Chesmar Homes. Now, when my wife and I were thinking about selling our current home and getting into another one, there's a handful of these builders that are often what we look at, and Chesmar is one of those. Even before I was in real estate, I was really impressed with the craftsmanship that they put in. There's some really nice details. I noticed that they were one of the few builders that included like stone accents in a lot of their model homes. I thought that was so cool, so different. And I feel like you get a good value here. For example, in the North Austin suburbs, you can get a 22 to 2,400 square foot Chesmar home for around $400,000 to $450,000 as a completed project, which I think is very competitive for our market. And that's a bigger home for that price point. The staff has always been great. I love our Chesmar partners, and I would be happy moving into a Chesmar. I would move my family into a Chesmar home. I don't think they're over the top incredible. I love that they have some floor plans that have the vaulted ceilings, cathedral style ceilings. But like with many of these places, there's reports online of some minor issues with warranty or with unfinished product. So I'm going to put Chesmar under good. Chesmar is a good builder. Like I said, I would move my grandma into a Chesmar home. That's how much I trust it. Oh boy. Now we got to talk about Lennar. Lennar is a very entry-level home builder. They're probably the lowest price point of any of the builders that I have listed on here, which is interesting because they also, I'll give them their kudos before I rip into them. Lennar is doing something really cool with Icon, which is another company. They've teamed together to create 3D printed houses. You can actually see a tour of a 3D printed home here on my channel. I'll pin that over here in the corner somewhere. But the problem that I have with that is those are higher end, right? Those are going to be, in fact, there's a place in Austin that's very popular called the Mueller area, and Icon and Lennar are building massive 3D printed homes that are going to be well above $1 or $2 million. So that's a higher end product. But Jordan, you just said that they only make low end product. Here's the thing. Lennar is not the one doing the building of the 3D printed homes. They're really the ones that are doing the sales, as far as I know. Icon is the one that's actually going in and printing the 3D houses. So I can't really consider that when I'm considering build quality. Lennar, for what it is, entry-level home, you're not going to get a lot of thrills there. They're very, very basic. You have a cheap product, so you're going to have a little more issues, in my opinion, with the craftsmanship. So what you can expect from that, very basic home, all the way down to, I think I've seen Lennar homes as low as like 1,000 square feet and 8 to 9 foot ceilings, maybe, probably more like 8 foot ceilings. So not the biggest, grandest home that you're going to see on this list. I'm going to go ahead and put Lennar for what they are. I'm going to put it at a void. And one reason that I'm justifying putting them under a builder that I personally wouldn't move into I remember watching during the pandemic, there were videos going around about how builders were just cranking these houses out. They were ramping up production, just churning them over, and some of the quality suffered. It felt like I was seeing more Lennar builds that were having significant issues during that time than anyone else. I specifically remember a video of a Lennar home in the framing stage, meaning that all the wood pillars and everything were up, and like a small gust of wind came through and it was just enough that the whole thing just collapsed. And I would hesitate unless it was my only option, because I've got to imagine post-pandemic, maybe things have gotten better. I hope. I personally would not move into one. And they were also, just like KB, they were one of the first to really say, hey, realtors, we don't need you, bye, and treated us pretty poorly. They've really changed their tune now that the market has turned. So maybe I'll get back in their good graces. If there's anything that I've said so far that you totally agree with or totally disagree with, let me know down in the comments below. I always take feedback. I love seeing what the difference of opinions are. Maybe you've had a really great experience or a really terrible experience with some of the builders that I ranked that you do or don't agree with. Let me know down in the comments. Now let's keep watching. Next, we're talking about Drees Custom Homes. Drees Custom Homes is a great builder here in the area. They are widely renowned. They have some of the most gorgeous model homes I have ever seen in Georgetown and in Liberty Hill. In fact, a Drees home has been, by view count, the most popular video on my channel. I'll link that right over here for you. Drees is more known for their high-end product, more of a luxury builder, although they do have some homes that are on the lower end. And when I say lower, I mean more like mid-range, somewhere around $500,000 to $600,000 is kind of their floor pricing. And the thing I really appreciate about Drees is they're a custom builder. So while you may have a floor plan that you have to pick from, or set floor plans that you have to pick from, you can make some small changes typically. So let's say you wanted the window to be moved over, half a foot or something, like for some reason, or you wanted it raised up or something of that nature. With most production builders, you cannot do that. With Drees Custom Homes, you absolutely can. You can also have them custom build a home on your lot. So I've got no problem saying that Drees is a great builder. Next up is Coventry Homes. Coventry, I got introduced to about 3 years or so ago, and I've come to really appreciate their floor plans. I think they're very well thought out. I think the space is incredible. Their model home in the Carneros Ranch community of Leander was one of my favorites that I've seen to date. That's also on my channel if you feel like checking it out. It had just tall ceilings, good space for the money, and especially being in Leander, having something over 3,000 square feet that's brand new with soaring ceilings, tons of space, 4 bedrooms, plus a game room, plus a study, there's tons of value there. And they're very competitively priced. So in my opinion, Coventry is going to be a great builder. I'm very happy with their product. I would recommend it to just about anybody. Next up is a builder that not many people know about. This is Sitterly Homes. They've been around in Texas, I want to say for 40 years now, and I adore this builder. Everything from the experience with the sales reps, who are very welcoming to us, to the product is just amazing. It's in my opinion, one of the standards for what I expect other builders to provide. And while they teeter along luxury homes, they also have homes like in Palmer Ranch. I did a tour of the Palmer Ranch cottages. That's priced, I want to say mid-6s for something that has a casita, a courtyard, 4 bedrooms, in a great area. So very competitively priced. And then their higher end product. A lot of times what happens is you see the model home, and when you get your custom build, it's nowhere near what the model home looked like. And that's because they put hundreds of thousands of dollars in upgrades into the model. They have an interior decorator come in and designer and just deck it out. The thing I appreciate about Sitterly Homes is I feel like their finished product for the consumer is more close to what the model is in terms of the features and like the wow factor. The built-ins around the fireplace, the beams across the ceiling, those little touches, it just feels so much more high-end to me than what some of these other builders provide, which is gonna park Sitterly right up here in the superior slot. D.R. Horton. America's builder. Has a nice ring to it, right? But what do I think about them? Here's what I think. The positives about D.R. Horton is they're mostly very competitively priced. You get a lot of house for the money. For example, I've got a D.R. Horton home under contract right now that is on 8/10 of an acre and 2,900 square feet, and it's just over $500,000, which is an incredible value when you compare that to some of the other builders and options in Central Texas. So lots of value. My issue with D.R. Horton, I've got a few of them. These are from firsthand testimonies to my clients and just stuff I've seen online from other people. D.R. Horton has frequent and consistent issues with build quality. Everything from, if you just do a quick Google search, you'll find that a lot of people have issues with the roof material that they use for the shingles, the 3-tab shingles. It's very cheap. It's not done correctly. So many people have issues with that major part of the structure of the entire house. And to make it even further, I have a client right now who bought a D.R. Horton home a couple of years ago, and they are now outside of their warranty. And it come to find out they started having some plumbing issues, and it's because D.R. Horton didn't put the plumbing deep enough into the ground. How is a client supposed to know that when they're looking at the home, right? You just assume everything is done correct. Well, now that they're having an issue, they go to D.R. Horton, and D.R. Horton basically says, sorry, you're outside of warranty, nothing we can do, it's on you. I just feel like that's wrong. I've also watched, I'm a big fan of a guy named Sci-Fi, who is, I believe he's out of Arizona. He's a home inspector, and he's gone round and round with a couple of these builders on here about their quality, their consistent issues, and they've tried to silence him, and I'm just not about that. So unfortunately, while I do think it is certainly possible that you can get a solid home from D.R. Horton, until I see things turn around, because we're talking about right now in 2025, would I recommend this? I would not me personally. But Jordan, you just said that you have clients that are under contract with D.R. Horton. Look, it's ultimately my client's decision. I voiced my concerns. They made their choice. We're all adults. I personally would not move into a D.R. Horton home in 2025. Next up is Highland Homes. I compare this right on par with Coventry. I think Highland Homes has some gorgeous floor plans, and they're more of a luxury builder as well. I teeter. Let me see. How do I feel about them being right here? Honestly, Highland Homes is, for me, is interchangeable between superior and great. I can make a case either way. I love their quality. I love their floor plans. They have one of the most grandiose living, kitchen, and dining floor spaces that I've ever seen. I have that video on my Instagram, but it's just insane. The only thing that I think is going to keep them under great for me, they weren't as open to negotiate in a buyer's market. It was kind of like they laid their cards out, and we had some initial rounds of discussion, and then like we got a much better offer from this other builder, and they just like weren't really willing to play ball. And that's okay. I know that's me being nitpicky, but I'm talking about client experience. They're still great. That is still a solid rating. Their quality is incredible. Man, I should put them under superior. You know what? I'm going to. I was being too nitpicky. Highland Homes, welcome to the Superior Club. So next up is GFO Home. There's a ton of mixed reaction online for this builder. I tend to agree that they're a little bit overbuilt and sometimes can have some weak management. So I'm going to say GFO Homes, in my opinion, is a good builder. They have product. They're a mid-range builder, typically, kind of lower to mid-range, and sometimes some luxury as well. I've literally seen them have options from 300 all the way to over $1 million. So they kind of range all over the place. I feel like if they were more focused on who their client is, who their ideal client, they would maybe make some adjustments that really speak and appeal to that client. But it's like they're trying to do too much. And you can see this on their Better Business Bureau. You can see this evident in the Better Business Bureau rating and on Yelp. People have very, very mixed opinions and experiences with GFO. So we're going to stick them right here in the good category. Before we review these last handful of builders, I wanted to let you know that I do have an Austin area newsletter that I put out every single month on the 1st. If that's something that you're interested in, there's a link down below. I have can't miss events, market statistics, neighborhoods to watch, and more. So if that's something of interest to you, I'd love to get your subscription. Like I mentioned, it's for free down in the description below. But without further ado, let's bring it home with these last handful of builders. Meritage Homes, another builder that's in that lower to medium grade price range. They are so big. I remember it didn't matter what community I was in or what sales rep I was talking to. They really wanted to let you know and drive home the point that they use spray foam insulation. They were so proud of that. So if like cool, it's energy efficient, I get it. The product is a little bit boring to me. It's a no thrills kind of builder in my opinion. And I don't have much more to say other than you kind of get what you pay for with these guys. I'm going to put them as they're an okay builder. Next up is Weston Homes. Look, anyone who's been on my channel, who follows me on socials or anywhere else, knows that I'm a sucker for someone with a builder that has, look, anyone that follows me on my social media or is a returning viewer of this channel probably has heard me talk about how much I'm a sucker for vaulted ceilings, cathedral ceilings, or any kind of ceilings with beams in them. I think it just elevates the look so much. And Weston's founder is really big on that stuff too. So the floor plans really speak to me. They are really big on you feeling like you have a more grand home than maybe what you do. And their price tags are very competitive. I will say that. So the thing that I don't like about Weston, and this is such a nitpicky thing, but I'm just going to say it. I walked a model home of theirs in the Palmer Ranch community, and the island is massive. It was just very strange. It's like an L with an extra, or like a T. There you go. It's a T. I don't know why I didn't just say that. It's a T-shaped island that's massive, and I'm just like, what? This is such a strange design decision. But the rest of the house is incredible. I think the space is really nice. I think the amount of house you get for the dollar is fantastic. It's a great value and a quality builder here in the area. I am going to put Weston under good builder. Absolutely. They could very well possibly go into great builder based on the value that they have. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. I'm putting Weston up here. And that's my final answer. Next up is Pulte Homes. Pulte, I've sold a handful of their houses. The salespeople are a little bit pushy. I'm not a big fan of that, even in a market like this. So I don't know if that's something from management or if that was some of the particular specific salespeople that I was dealing with. I wasn't a big fan of that. They really drive home. They add this like 5-year additional warranty for something. To me, it was a bit of fluff, in my opinion. All builders typically do a 1, 2, 10 warranty to cover you for different aspects of the home. And the product is okay. It's a lower end to mid-grade product, and it's a little bit boring. Just like I said with Meritage, it just is what it is. It's a no-thrills home. I'm going to put them at okay, which means it gets the job done. I'm not even... Like, guys, before y'all like roast me in the comments or say I'm being too critical or whatever, everything other than this, other than I wouldn't live there or I don't recommend, is good. Not every home is superior. We got to have just some okay stuff in here. So I'm just putting them all on a level playing field. And Pulte Homes, I feel, is right at home being okay. Next up is Taylor Morrison. They are a mid-grade to high-end builder. And Taylor Morrison is known, for me, right now, they're in a big feud with that sci-fi guy that I was talking about, the home inspector. I was not a fan. They're basically trying to silence him, saying that he's being overly critical by forcing the builder to have a higher standard for what their output product is. But look, they've got some fantastic functional floor plans. They do have some homes that and options that are in the 400s and above. So I don't want to be overly critical. They're kind of a mid-grade builder. I'm going to put them right here, right along lines with Ashton Woods, Chesmar, and GFO. That feels correct. Like if I absolutely found a floor plan that was within budget that I loved, I would feel okay moving into a Taylor Morrison home. Tri-Point Homes, these guys have 3 fantastic models in the Lariat community of Liberty Hill. I toured each one of them here on the channel, and I was really impressed. I think of the builders, these guys are in that upper percentage of bang for the buck without feeling like you got ripped off. Lots of space, lots of really thoughtfully designed, elegant, and beautifully done models with different floor plans that are very versatile, that can fit almost any kind of lifestyle. And I love that you can even get into a Tri-Point home in the high 300,000s, which is awesome. So Tri-Point, I love the end product as well. I'm gonna put these guys right on par with this gang right here. And last but certainly not least, we've got Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers is one of the premier luxury home builders in all of this area. They're featured in many, they don't build in places that aren't cool. They're in the awesome community here in Leander called Treviso, which many of the high-end clients that I help are very interested in. And they don't put out product that sucks. They just don't. If I had one complaint about these guys, it's that they're a very proud builder. So you pay a little bit of a premium for a Toll Brothers build where, you know, maybe in certain communities, I wish for the price you would have some more space between the neighbors. But instead, you're getting an incredible house on, you know, maybe a smaller lot that just doesn't have enough space between each other. You can pay for a bigger lot premium. But whenever I compare it to someone like a Perry, a Sitterly, or a Highland Homes, I feel like you get just for the price. I'm saying if I'm spending like $1.5 million on a Toll Brothers home, I'm probably getting a little more house or a little more space with these 3. That's all I'm saying. But Toll Brothers is an incredible product. When it's one of the standards when I'm thinking luxury homes. So with that said, Toll Brothers is going in its rightful spot up here. They are a superior builder. And like I said, again, if I'm being super nitpicky, I toured a home with my client who ended up buying the Perry home from YouTube, by the way. We toured a Toll Brother home, and the thing that didn't make it an option for them was some of the finishes just didn't match up to, such as like the staircase. When you compare the staircase to that of a Perry home, or one of the other options was a Highland home, it just kind of failed in comparison. It felt very basic. And then you get upstairs and some of the design decisions, like the wood, just really stuck out. It didn't feel like it blended with the flooring. So maybe just some design decisions, and maybe that was a custom build and I don't know. And maybe that was what someone else drew up and dreamed up, and it wasn't Toll Brothers' fault. But nonetheless, that's what I'm going by. They're a fantastic builder. I would absolutely recommend Toll Brothers. And there you have it. There's my rankings. I'm sticking by them. I feel like if you watch this video, my hope is that if you didn't have anything to go off of before and you're considering a move to the Austin, Texas area, this video is going to equip you with just the proper expectation on who the builders to look at are and some that I would be cautious about. Each one of these has the potential to build a fantastic home for you. I know budget is a big part of that. So if you want more information, if you found this video helpful and you said, you know what, sounds like Jordan knows what he's talking about, and I trust that he's going to listen to me, get to know what my needs are, my lifestyle fit, and it sounds like he's going to lead me in the right direction. I help people with new construction purchases every single week. So please give me a call today. My number is 512-337-3947. I'd love to hear more about your scenario and help you find your own perfect slice of Texas. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.